Hi folks, got a hobby update for you. About a week since I posted my last one, so let's see what I've been working on. What's on the table, what I'm playing, what I'm planning on playing. First up is my Gauls. These are 15 millimeter Old Glory medals. And I just finished, and I think I let you guys in on that in the last update. I just finished these Polybian Romans, 4 elements worth. Again, DBMM. And they're done. I like to paint my Romans, my 15 mil, kind of on the side when I find the time while I'm working on other projects. So I don't have to focus entirely on these guys. I've got some decent sized armies for Gaul and the Romans. So it's just a matter of adding things here and there as I go, increasing the size of the armies, basically. And next up, I'm going to have 4 bases of Gauls. And these are going to be warband classed troops. They're based on 40 mil by 20 mil, 3 figures per base. And I like to put at least 1 model on each base. These are Litco bases, by the way. And paint them up that way. And have the rest on strips of card like this. So this is enough for 4 bases, 4 elements. And these are your war bands. They're like, you classify them think of them as like medium infantry, your typical war band type troops. And the Gauls do have tighter, closer packed troops in their armies as well. But I want more of these guys. These guys make up the bulk of my army currently, so I want more. Why not, right? These are, again, Old Glory. And I have a mix of models that I like to work with and paint and add to my armies, including Corvus Belli, Essex, and Old Glory, of course, is what these guys are. And these are all Old Glory. And as with all Old Glories, they're hit or miss. Sometimes you get models that look like they were done by a different sculptor, which I think they were. But these are very cost-effective figures to buy. They look good, honestly. They're in those crazy poses. You get lots of variety in poses. And if you're bulking up your armies, like I'm doing with my Gaul army, they're a way to go. So these guys I'll be working on these in the coming weeks, and we'll see how I progress with these. So yeah, there's my 15 mil Gauls. Next up, these are Forge and Brush project. I love working with these AWI figures. I love the period. At one point I was actually going to Wargame this period with 28 mil. But storage was a major issue, and after some hard thought, I decided, you know what, let's go back to 18 mil. The thought of collecting and storing those buildings, I'd have to have lots of terrain and buildings, and I'm mostly a 15 millimeter wargamer for the most part, and all my terrain reflects that, my buildings and so on, so I'd have to start from scratch collecting 28 mil buildings and trees and so on. And the storage was going to be a major issue, not to mention the bigger figures. So I decided to go back to 15/18 millimeter for my American War of Independence, a project which is currently on the shelf. I'll hopefully get to that maybe next year. We'll see how I get along early next year with my other planned projects. I don't have too many projects, but you can only do so much. And on top of that, I have my Forge and Brush projects, which I have to get painted. So there is that. So anyway, these are Old Glories. They're medals. And I love these guys. I love the poses in this group of models here. These are all in like a shooting pose or somewhat more dramatic than the ones I've done earlier. You got guys shooting. You got guys loading. And I started these, I think, over a year ago at least. So there's a little rubbing off of the paint. I got to fix that, which is no problem. I do want to get these guys done, and I mean, they look pretty good now. I'd say they're about 75% done, but yeah, I've got to go over them all again, make sure there's no rubbed off paint and so on and so forth. Like this guy. He's pretty cool. Got the gun fittings all painted on there. Fantastic. And like I said before, the Old Glory models are hit or miss, you know. But this particular grouping of models I do actually really like. And let me see if that focuses. No, there's too much going on in the background. But I do like these models. So these are a Forge and Brush project, so they're going to be up probably in the next paint and chat, right alongside the Gauls and whatever else I got going on. Now, this isn't all of the figures in the unit. I think there's about 20 actually. There's like 17 here. So I might have to add some figures to this that are brand new. I got to clean them up. They're just raw metal figures. So yeah, there's these guys. They're next up in the paint and chats. I'm going to be getting to them shortly. Next up, showed these guys off earlier, but I finally got this guy done. And this guy was the second standard bearer for this regiment, the 63rd. I think it's the 60th. It's either the 63rd or 64th. Anyway, they have green facings, so I believe it's the 63rd. I'll have to double check that. But I finally finished him. Of course, I had to finish the standard pole, make it out of wire. It's got a nice tip on there in the end. Let me see if you can see that. You get the idea. But he's all painted. He's good to go. It's matched up with the flags. And he's finished. He's been washed. A little highlighting going on, so he's good. And this is a 20-man unit. And the next step at this point is to actually base them on their figures. I think there's either 4 or 6 figures per base. I'll have to check it. I think it's 4. 5 bases of 4. I could be wrong. Well, if there's 20 figures, it's got to be 4. I don't think 6 would cut it. And then I'll, once they're based, I'm going to apply the spackle that I used for my texturing of my bases. And after that, once that's all done, bases are flocked and they're good to go. They're going to get their flags attached. And I always do that last. And the reason I do that last is so that I can get the flags. You know, I don't want flags blocking out certain models or wrapping around somebody it shouldn't. I don't want them bumping other figures. I want them to set perfectly on that base, considering all the other figures. So I always do that last. It's easy to do. It's not difficult. So yeah, these guys are all done. And these are a Forge and Brush project too. So yeah, really happy with these guys. I love painting up the British and American War of Independence. Really fun projects. And I hope to get another project up soon. I'm not sure which regiment or what I'm going to be doing. But think about that. Oh, by the way, these are Old Glory 28s, as I showed off previously. These are some of the better posed figures. Really enjoy these figures, working with them. And yeah, they are awesome. And speaking of AWI, let me see if I could show this guy off. Here's another project I'm working on. I've got some commanders, some mounted commanders, regimental and brigade level commanders of sorts that I'm working on. And this guy is all but done. He needs his basing. He's been sealed and all that good stuff. Hope that comes in. See some of the details on him. Got poor lighting going on in here for some reason. But yeah, he's going to be finished off shortly as well. Probably a round base. We'll see. I'm still thinking on that. I have a few of these guys that I still have to finish and base. And I'm not sure I'm going to package them. Again, Forge and Brush. I'm not sure I'm going to package them and offer them up. But I am working on that. And he was finished some time ago. So, beautiful figures. Again, Old Glory medals. 2-piece miniature. Obviously, the rider was separate. But, yeah. Highly recommend the Old Glories. I enjoyed them. And, of course, I posted a video on this earlier today, showcasing these guys. There's a 10-man squad of Grenadiers, late war, mid-war, and a 251 half-track. These were all completed in the paint and chats yesterday, and I finished these. So this is a project that will be available on my Forge and Brush shortly. Look forward to that. but really enjoyable. I love painting these Warlord Games plastics, the Germans in particular. They're not a difficult paint, not challenging at all. Well, everything's a challenge, right? But you know what I mean. They have relatively simple, easy color schemes to do, so they paint up quicker than, say, the AWI would. I think that's what I'm trying to say there. But again, very enjoyable. These guys have been completed, so a 10-man squad and half track. And at this point, I'm probably going to take a break from painting up my Germans, the 28 mil. I still have a squad left to do. I'll get to that down the road, I think. I'm going to take a break from this and focus on some other projects. So, yeah, that's what I got done, and that's what's on the painting table at the moment. But I do need one more project. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I'm thinking about it. Right now I've got my Gauls, my AWI militia that I just showed, and I got to finish up these guys, of course, with the basing and the flags. That's about it. I gotta get another project. I'm not sure what it's going to be. It's going to be a surprise to me, as probably as well to you. So we'll see. What I also have, not right away, but I still have the remainder of this box. I think there's like, I don't remember. Still got quite a few in here. I think there's like 18 left. And I think I'm going to paint up a different regiment. The guys I painted were the 5th New York that's on the cover here. I painted them up, so I'm thinking of doing something entirely different, paint up a 2nd regiment, but I'm going to need some more models, and I'm thinking of getting some command figures from Perry, the metals, to add to this, and offer this up as well for Forge and Brush. Really love painting these Zouaves. And, one of the great things about getting back into selling figures again for you guys is the fact that I get to paint what I most enjoy, or what I've never painted before that I've always wanted to paint. Like, I don't wargame the American Civil War, but I always wanted to paint Zouaves. And this has given me an opportunity to do so, and man, I'm telling you, fantastic. I loved working with these figures in particular. I really took my time with them, and it was a joy working with these. And this is another box set that I would highly recommend. Easy to put together, as you can see. You get 2 poses, advancing and marching. This guy down here. Yeah, really good. So this is another project I want to finish. I want to get up a 2nd regiment, and there's some of the example uniforms you can do there. So I think I'll put this off as well. I'm not going to rush into this right away. Again, I do need another project to start working on for Forge and Brush, and I'm thinking about that. So it'll be just as much a surprise for you guys as it is me. So that's about it. I guess we'll take a look at what I've been gaming and playing so far and what's on the table. As you guessed it, Brandywine. And I've been raving about this game for some time, and I'm finally getting the opportunity to play. GMT, Great Battles of the American Revolution. I'm having a blast. I'm about halfway through the battle. If you've been following my video series, my refight of the Brandywine, I think it's up to episode 8 completed. So the episode 9 is the next one. Yeah, and that's going to be the initial entry of Howe's forces. Well, his initial forces, I should say. And they'll be coming on from that direction. You can kind of see their stack there already. But that's where I'm at with this game. Part 9 will be coming up pretty soon. This is what's on the table. And I haven't played in a few days, so I'm anxious to get at it. And a lot is going on, and it's about to pick up in the next turn, which is turn 6, which is where I'm at. Highly recommend the game, folks. Fantastic fun. I got the tri-pack. It includes 4 battles in all: Guilford Courthouse, Saratoga, Brandywine, and Utah Springs. Tons of great hard-mounted boards, which I think is a plus. And, yeah, contents of the game are always top-notch, as you'd expect from somebody like GMT Games. Absolutely loving the game. Not sure what's next after this. I'm still playing this. Again, I'm halfway through it. But I've mentioned before, I've got some ASL and Jutland by Avalanche Press. Also Conflict of Heroes. I've had a few people ask me to do a replay of that game, show some of its how a game plays. Actually, I did a unboxing of it not long ago, so I might do that as well, just for fun, little change of pace. But we'll see. And of course, Twin Peaks from the Great Battles of the American Civil War series. I want to play Cedar Mountain. That's on tabs shortly. I'm not sure exactly what is next after this. I do want to enjoy this game. I'm taking my time, Brandywine, and absolutely enjoying it. And I should have new episodes to my battle so far coming up shortly. So stay tuned for that. So there is that. And before I go, one other thing that I'd like to throw out to you guys is Black Seas, basically by Warlord Games, the naval version of their Black Powder game. If you haven't heard about it, you've been living under a rock. Looks pretty good. There's some Facebook groups for it, and as many of you guys know, I've been wanting to get into wooden ships era naval wargaming and collecting for some time. And when I saw Black Seas announced, I was kind of, big deal. It's just another probably oversimplistic game with oversized models, and I kind of didn't pay attention. But I have been looking at it much closer the past few days, and I have to say I'm very impressed. The models are not toys. We're not talking about Sails of Glory style ships here. They are bigger. They're 1/700 scale. And I'm seriously thinking about going with this scale. And it's not really the rules that's drawing me to this. It is, in fact, the scale. And one thing that has always held me back of collecting and modeling and playing games with the wooden ships era is the models. It seems like 1/1200 is the way to go. They are kind of expensive, and what's available to me would be Langton and GHQ. You're talking about $15, $20 for a big ship of the line model, depending, but it's kind of expensive. But knowing me, I want to do the rigging, I want to do all the details. The modeling aspect of it is important to me, and so I haven't gotten into it because of that. But taking a look at this 1/700 scale and the quality of the models that Warlord Games is planning to release, I think it's next month actually, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, and I've strongly been considering getting into this scale for my wooden ships, Napoleonic era naval wargaming. And again, the emphasis for me is on the modeling and collecting of these ships. I want to do all the rigging and the rat lines and stuff. And this looks like the scale to go. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. However, one thing that will influence my decision if I go this way, and right now, folks, I think it's pretty likely. I'd say 90% chance. However, it's the availability of models in this scale outside of Warlord Games. So I'm going to throw a question out to you guys that may or may not be in the know. Do you know of any other manufacturers, especially in the U.S., that offer models in this scale, 1/700, wooden ships era? I know there's one company in the UK. I can't think of the name of it. It used to be something to do with Skytrex. But I don't know. I've done a little research, and I'm coming up pretty empty-handed. And they could be models, they could be resin, they could be metal, wargame related, or they could be just, literally models for this era. But if you guys know of any companies that make ships in this scale, let me know, because, if I want to get into this scale in particular, 1/700, I want to have at least, a few companies and sources for models. I don't know if that's going to be possible. But that said, I have to admit the Warlord Games models are absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen them, take a look at them. Go on Facebook, do a little search on Facebook for some... there's two groups that come to mind that talk about Black Seas. One of them is hosted by Warlord Games, in fact. And you can see a lot of articles. There's gentlemen in there actually putting together the models, the rigging, and so on and so forth. They just look absolutely fantastic. So, and I'm sure the rules are fun too, but I'm thinking, I'll probably play games with them, but with various rules, not just Black Seas. So yeah, let me know what you think about that, folks. Do you want to see me do some naval stuff? 1/700. I'm pretty keen on doing something, and this is the scale I'm leaning towards. More than the more traditional 1/1200. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, folks. And if you know any other manufacturers in the UK or US or where I can get other models in 1/700 scale. So anyway, folks, that's it. That's what's on the table. That's what's on my mind. What you can see in the future, and what I have completed. So, till next time, folks, hang in there. It's only going to get better. You guys take care.